Hey guys, okay, so this episode is kind of a continuation on an earlier episode where we talked about what makes dress shirts turn yellow predominantly under the arms, and it sometimes happens around the shirt collar too, but really the prevailing wisdom, of course, and there's, the jury's still out, it appears on the direct cause, but the leading culprit seems to be the aluminum element that is in a lot of popular deodorants. And so when we put on under our arms, it reacts with our sweat and bacteria under our arms living on our body, and we get this kind of nasty yellow stain. So in that video, and I think in a couple subsequent ones, I had talked about the need for me to do a video on trying to get that stain out. So mitigation is of course the best recipe, but if you already have a stain, what can you do about it? So doing a little research out there, it seems that one of the best things we can do, the best tool in our defense against this, is apparently Oxiclean. Now, Billy Mays, I grew up seeing a lot of his infomercials on the television, and of course I have seen the South Park episode, so I am well versed in all things Billy Mays, I'd like to say. Nevertheless, I don't own too many of his products, so maybe I'm not. But if this is really the best thing, I wanted to give it a test on these two shirts. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, these aren't too awfully yellow. It might be kind of tough to see. I have the best light I can possibly get for you. But suffice it to say that these white shirts are getting to the point that under certain natural light conditions, this might be pretty darn obvious. Therefore, I'm to the point where I don't quite feel that comfortable wearing these shirts out into the open. So we are going to test this. I'm going to take you through it and we'll see how well this particular product does. So reading the directions, it is pretty simple. You just saturate the area and then let it set for very tough and set-in stains, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it set. So I'm going to do it for 10 minutes per the directions on the back, and I'll flip this over once I put the camera down and do the other side. And then it just says wash as normal. I'm just following the directions here for laundry. 10 minutes depending on severity of the stain, and then wash in normal detergent. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, and we'll come back and I'll show you guys how everything turned out. Alright, so I've just taken these two shirts out of the laundry, and one thing to note is I used warm water, whereas usually I use cold water and normal cycle. I still use normal cycle, but this time it was a little bit warmer of water. So hoping that extra temperature will kind of activate more of the active ingredients in the Oxiclean and in my normal detergent. So let's see how it did. This shirt, I feel like, is a teeny weeny bit better. It wasn't too bad to begin with, but it was certainly enough that I could notice it. And it does look pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. This one honestly didn't seem like it really did anything. You can see there's kind of a little discoloration there. I can kind of feel that's just a different texture there from years of, well, what am I going on? I think 2 years with this shirt. Had this for a while. There's definitely some set-in stains on this guy. But I don't feel like it did too much. I think what I'm going to do, repeat the process again, maybe let it soak for more like 20, let's do like a half hour. I'm just going to really soak it. And I'll wash it again and see what happens. Alright guys, we are back. I have washed this dress shirt a second time using Oxiclean. And the first time, 10 minutes, just like the instructions stated, right? Second time, I sprayed a whole bunch of Oxiclean all over the armpit area and let it set for about an hour, if not a little bit more. And then washed it like normal, with my own usual detergent, and on warm water in addition to all the Oxiclean treatments. So, everything I could think of to really give the Oxiclean a good chance at working. And what happened, in the video it will probably look pretty darn good. Up close, in person, in real life, there's a little bit left, but honestly, I should say that it did take a lot of it out. I think letting it set and soak for 6 times the recommended time really did have a positive impact. Of course, it may depend on the specific fabric and shirt that you have, but for me, for this kind of cotton weave or linen weave cotton shirt, it really did seem to work. Now, this is an older shirt. These stains are really set in, so it did take a while, and I think a lot of this you should take with a grain of salt because this shirt has been through a lot, but it did seem to work pretty well. Like, this is the whitest I've seen this shirt since maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. So a lot of use, but it did seem to do some good things. So in the future, I will definitely be on the lookout for other products to test and see if there is something that works quicker or easier. But for my own shirt specifically, now that I know Oxiclean can do quite a bit of good, whenever I start to see just a little bit of yellowing under the arms of my white shirts, you can bet I'm going to spray that section pretty good before I start washing it. And I won't let it just build up and be complacent and feel like, oh, it's just something that happens on dress shirts, and that's the shirt life. You know, when it gets too bad, I throw it away. It's pretty cool to know that there is something that I can do to help mitigate real severe stain, and certainly there are things I can do to help extend the life of our dress shirts, which none of these are very, you know, super cheap shirts, and so the longer we get them to last, obviously the better on our wallet, and helps to keep a decent wardrobe, right? So that's what I learned. What do you guys think? I know I've asked this before, but again, is there anything that you have found that works really well on cleaning dress shirts, specifically getting that yellow from the interaction with our deodorant out of the armpits? And how do you kind of keep things looking clean? Love to hear about what you guys think. Sound off in the comments below. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, you are missing out. We have new videos pretty much every single weekday. We're doing pretty good lately. So stay tuned, more to come, and as always, thank you for your attention. We really appreciate it, and we will get back to work for new videos and new topics.